Use your coaching skills to feel more confident selling your coaching. A lot of your coaching techniques like listening, reflecting, finding a client's motivation for change are incredible, powerful tools when you're trying to sell your coaching. And in this video, I want to show you how you can apply your motivational interviewing skills in a sales conversation to be more successful. If you want more videos on motivational interviewing and in general on how to coach better, please subscribe. So how can you use your coaching to sell your coaching? Sales conversations can be awkward, especially if you're feeling like you're taking money from your client instead of exchanging value. Your money value exchanged with my coaching value. Sales conversations can be difficult, especially when you feel like you have to communicate differently, that you have to use certain tactics to get the client to say yes. So the goal of this video is to reframe some of your coaching skills and help you see how what you're already doing well also helps you when you try to sell your services. And full disclaimer, I'm not a sales coach and this is not a comprehensive guide on selling. This is more my experience and what I've seen with hundreds of other coaches that I've helped. Before we go into the techniques, let's talk a little bit about our mindsets. A lot of coaches that I talk with that struggle with coaching have issues with selling themselves because they're not just selling a product, they're also selling themselves because they are a part of the product. They think they shouldn't charge for something that they enjoy. They shouldn't charge for something that comes easy to them. But we have to make a very important shift here because first, getting paid to do what you love is the goal. Imagine how awesome it is to do what you love and get paid for it. Then it just takes practice because in the end, you have this moment of are they agreeing, are they not agreeing? And it takes practice to overcome this fear of being rejected. How you can minimize the likelihood that you're getting rejected is the topic of this video. And think about it. Most successful people get paid to do what they do well. Imagine you going to a doctor and you're only seeing doctors who are very, very bad at medicine. Or you go to someone that builds houses and they are very, very bad at building houses. That's not a great start. So if you're really good at coaching, you have to sell your coaching. It's very important that you first try to practice these mental shifts. When these thoughts come up, oh, I hate selling myself, I shouldn't do it because it's easy. Consciously transition to, oh, most successful people get paid to do what they do well. According to the Personal Trainer Development Center, there are 5 crucial steps for selling coaching. What do you want to achieve? Sell results, not packages, address objections, get the buy-in, and last, get creative if necessary. I've also created a cheat sheet that you can use in your next sales conversation to go through these 5 steps, and you can find these 5 steps and the cheat sheet in the description below. If you like that, please press the like button, make a little comment, or share this video with someone who will also benefit from this info. So from a coaching perspective, we have identify what they want to achieve, clarify what success looks like, explore resistance and ambivalence, build commitment to change, and then plan the next action step. So in a way, a coaching conversation towards change, when you're coaching clients towards change, has in many ways very similar processes and steps than a sales conversation, because in the end, you're helping with your sales conversation the client to make a decision, to make a commitment to change. Because that's what really buying or purchasing a coaching package is. It's a commitment from the client saying, I want something in my life different. At least personally for me, this is super helpful because it's the sales conversation in the end is a coaching conversation with a slightly different objective. So instead of finding this one small thing that the client wants to do consistently, I help them build the motivation and the commitment to say, I want to work with you. And if we look at a sales conversation this way, the client comes with a need, they want to change something, and you come with an offer, and then it's a conversation between two people finding out if they can work together. Then a sales conversation, at least for me, becomes much less scary. You have the same conversation, the same type of conversation, just with a slightly different topic. Usually you have the commitment to a small change, and here you have the commitment to a bigger, broader change. But the steps and the skills involved are in many ways very similar, and we will go into the details in a second. What I want you to take away from this part is this is not a sales script. The whole idea behind this video and the approach that I'm using is it is in the end a conversation, a genuine conversation between two people who try to figure out if they can work together towards a common goal. And the success is guaranteed, or not always guaranteed, but it works because the base for the conversation is first trust. They get to know you, they get to know how you work, and then you offer something that they need. So there's not this, oh, I have this and you should take it or give me your money. It's an exchange. They have a need, you have a solution. They have money, you have a solution. You exchange money for the solution. And in this way, it doesn't become salesy or slazy anymore. It's not, I'm taking away something from the client. Because as we will talk about in a second here as well, it's very much a conversation of, do I want to work with this client? So it's not just, oh my God, does the client reject me? Do they not want my coaching? But you actually go in and see, oh, are they a great fit? Will I enjoy working with them? So I hope I make it as clear as possible that you go into a sales conversation really as two equals, two humans, trying to understand if we can collaborate towards a common goal. That's the base for this idea of a sales conversation. A genuine conversation trying to figure out, can we work together? Let's look at the opening of the conversation, so the engaging part. This is the high part, where you just start to establish a connection with a potential client. You have to think about it in this moment right now. You're probably seeing a person you've never met before or never really talked with. So you first need to find a way to sync up, to build a connection. And this initial part is what I sometimes would call this small talk area. So you tip a little bit in different areas to understand what is going on in their life. But there's not yet deep focus. It's more like, hey, let's touch on this part, let's touch on this part to see if we can build connection. Some good questions that you can ask here is, what do you want to achieve? So it's open enough to have a broad conversation, but it's specific enough that you can actually have a conversation that is focused in a way. And before you start to get specific and asking question after question around this topic, stay on a rather shallow, instead of digging immediately deeper into, okay, what does success mean? How will we measure it? How do you know that you will be successful? Try to stay in this small talk area for a moment and ask questions like, why is now a good time for them to focus on nutrition? And this helps you understand better what is the emotional reasons for this change. What has changed? Where is the big shift? In this part, use a lot of reflections. And I talked about reflections in this video. If you're not familiar with the term, it's essentially just giving back to the client in a statement what they said, with adding a little meaning. And I will show you an example of a reflection later on in this video as well. While you're still establishing the connection and this rhythm with them, you can ask a lot of simple questions to get to know them a little bit better. So, have you had a coach before? Why did you quit? Or why did you not work? Why haven't you been successful previously? What are your expectations of me? These are great questions that are running through your client's mind as well. And it also helps you already get an understanding of how can you position yourself in a different way. For example, I had a client conversation and they were really, really worried about that I would put them on a scale and tell them their number and how much it increased and just shame them on using the scale and gaining weight. It was a really terrible experience for them. So I asked this question early on, I learned about it, and when I talked about my service, I made sure to emphasize how I'm not particularly fond of using a scale, or how I use different techniques to measure progress instead of the scale. And already very early on, you can learn a lot about your client or about your potential client. And you have later on the opportunity to show them, hey, I do things differently. You proactively address their objections. So this whole conversation is a lot smoother. How do you know that you achieve the what do you want to achieve stage, that you can move forward to deeper questions? The goal here is to have a real conversation. So are they saying things that everyone would say? Like, so there's good weather talk. Oh yeah, the weather is not good today. Yeah, sometimes it has to rain. This is not good report. You're looking for very unique responses. They start to open up a little and tell about them as a person, their struggles, their experiences, their expectations. This is what you're looking for, a really engaged conversation. And remember, this is not something that is only in person. You can have this kind of conversation in a video call, and you can also have this kind of conversation over text, because even though text may be a little bit more difficult to have an idea of where they are at, if they write single word responses, you know, oh, communication is not going well. If they write elaborate texts and they respond quickly, you know, okay, conversation is going well. So from this broad, let's get to know each other a little bit better, now you start to narrow it down. Now you start to focus a little bit more. Now we start to look at what success looks like for them. So a question that you can ask is, how will you know that you have achieved your goal? And the point here is, you let them tell you what they want, and you listen. You're curious and interested, because the more they talk about what they want, the better you will be able to show them how your program helps them achieve exactly that. So questions you can ask at this stage is, how will you know that you've achieved your goal? So losing weight is a goal, but it's not very specific. Precise might be, okay, I want to lose 5 kilos, or I will be able to wear my favorite jeans again. Weight loss can be one result, wearing their favorite jeans another, but maybe getting compliments from others about how good they look is another way of seeing results. And lastly, the feelings are super important. So maybe if you dig a little bit deeper, or maybe it's just a gut instinct, you understand, oh, losing weight really is more about feeling more confident again, and also maybe feeling more attractive. The goal here is, we as coaches, we listen and let the potential client Paint the picture of their bright future as clearly as possible. Try to think that they have in mind the clearest, most emotional, engaging picture of what it will be when they reach their goal. And here's the important part. They imagine their goal and associate it with you because they have with you this conversation. And when they have a very clear picture and how they feel and what they do and how they are when they reach their goal, then it will be so much easier for you to say, hey, do you want help with that? And they, yes, of course. But how we get there in a second. Another technique that you can use here is what I call the 3 whys. Many coaches know the 5 whys approach or the 5 whys exercise as a way to explore a deeper purpose behind the goal. So why is that goal important to you? And what about that is important to you? And why is that important to you? The goal is here to dig deeper for emotional reasons. But very often, 1 or 2, maybe 3 whys are often enough because we have often to understand this person in front of us doesn't know us at all. And we might get to things that they are not yet comfortable talking about. So when you use the 3 whys, look at them or get a feeling if you're using maybe text messages of how comfortable they feel. And if necessary, err on less whys because you don't want to be inappropriate at this early in the coaching process or in the coaching connection. Another thing that you can check here is ready and willing. And this goes back again to the idea of 2 people having a conversation, trying to see if they can collaborate together. Ready and willing is the idea of how important is this goal for you? Because it's common that people want to lose weight, but weight loss includes making changes to nutrition and fitness. But not everyone that seeks coaching is also ready to make the changes. So a simple way to understand are they ready and willing is on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is this goal for you? Other ways to estimate or get an idea of how important their goal is to listen to their change talk, to listen to the words that they are saying to get an idea of how ready and willing they are. And this change talk idea, I will talk about this in a second. While you're talking about ready and willing, check if they have realistic expectations. You get an idea in this part of the sales conversation of what they are actually looking for. So if they say, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, there probably should go off some red flags and say 50 pounds in 3 months, that's maybe not something that really works. Or maybe they say, oh, I want to lose weight, but I will not change anything about my nutrition. And then you have this red flag where you as the coach get an idea of, okay, maybe they are not a great fit for me. Super important. Listening to what they're saying, asking this question, understanding what they're saying and what their expectations are can help you very early on in the conversation determine, oh, this is the client that I want to work with, that have realistic expectations, that are willing to do the work, and understanding, oh, this client doesn't really have realistic expectations and is not coachable either. They don't understand, oh, 50 pounds in 3 months, that doesn't work, and then they are not a good fit. One thing that I want to mention here is if you have a client that says, oh, my goal is not very important to me, take it at face value. They're saying their goal is not very important to them. And if you decide to work with them, understand that their goal is not very important to them, because we want to help our clients, we want to support them, and that's what we love and do. But if a client says, oh, on a scale from 1 to 10, my goal is maybe a 3 out of 10, and you care about their goal like a 9 or 10 out of 10, then you are always pushing for change and they will resist. And you pour so much energy into them and they don't understand, hey, that's actually not that important to me. Leave it be. I'm working at my pace and how important this is for me. So please, if you have a client that says, oh, that's not really important to me, and you decide to work with them, take it at face value, care a little bit less about their goal than they do. And if the importance for their goal grows, your caring for that goal can grow with them. But never care more than that. You will burn out and push the client away. So the precondition that we can work with a client is their desire for improvement. So the goal now becomes that we build their commitment to change. We build up their desire, their motivation to change. And when we get to the point where they are motivated and they want to start to change, then we ask them, hey, can I help you with that? How can we recognize this precondition? How can we recognize the desire for change? And that is called change talk. So when you have this conversation with the client and you determine what does success look like, listen to their change talk. Do they express something like, I want to eat more vegetables. I can train 3 times a week. If I lose weight, then I will feel more attractive. Or I need to lose weight to get off the medication. If you hear some things like this, any kind of speech that favors movement towards change, you can say, cool, that's what I need. This is the condition so coaching can actually work. They want to change and they express it through their words. These types of change talk, like commitment, I will work on my sleep, or maybe they're even saying, oh, I already changed my carb intake, or I'm already moving 3 times a week. Then you are even more to the 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 on the how important is my goal scale. So if you have a client sitting in front of you, they've already talked about what they will do, or that they have already taken steps towards change, then that's a big plus where you say, cool, this client is ready for change. And you can respond to this change talk by elaborating, asking open-ended questions. Let them tell you more about what they have already changed. They are telling you all the reasons then why they want to change, how they're going to change, what is important to them. You can affirm, oh wow, you already made so many great changes. That's awesome. You can reflect, oh, eating less carbs sometimes sucks. You have this craving, but at the same time you see that it's working. And summaries can be very, very helpful, especially in a sales conversation, because then if you have gathered enough information, you can take a step back and say, okay, you want this, you want that, this is what success looks like, you have already made these changes, you're committed to that. Do you want to help with that? Do you see how a summary then suddenly moves from, okay, what is your motivation to change, to let's get specific, let's work together. But I will get more specific here in a second. How could a response to something like this look like? I really want to lose weight, but I know I don't have time. I've tried before and it's really hard. Here we can highlight the change talk in our reflection, in our response. Making time is a challenge for you, At the same time, losing weight is really important to you. You highlight the fact that they want to lose weight. And then you wait. How do they respond? And ideally, if you have done it right, they respond with, yes, losing weight is really important to me, da 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 da. Now, through this, they said it, you repeated it back to them, they respond to it, you build these layers of commitment. And you move towards change more and more and more with every little sentence. Once you have a good idea about what they want, you can sketch out a rough plan. The idea is that it's not a perfect plan. It's a rough plan that they get an idea, okay, we're going to work on this, then we're going to work on that, and the last part is going to work on this. You can always fine-tune. The idea is you listen to them and they get an idea of how working with you would look like. Highlight how your plan is a response to their bright future, how this plan will lead to progress, will lead to their bright future. You can also highlight how it solves some of their objections or what is important to them. For example, if you have a client that is really worried about the scale, you can highlight when you sketch out the plan how you will measure progress without the scale. Or if you have someone who really wants to shoulder press big weights, then you make sure that you highlight, oh, we first do that so that you can maximize your muscle growth so you get the strongest in your shoulder press. The plan is essentially a translation of what does it take to reach your bright future? This is what it takes. And every single step that we do has a purpose that leads to your bright future. If you can communicate this as clearly as possible, how every single step that you want to take with this client has a specific purpose that leads to their bright future, you maximize the likelihood that they want to work with you. At this stage, I love asking about their objections. I ask them, what do you think about this plan? Or do you see any roadblocks to success? Because it comes from you. It's not something that they have in mind, but they're not comfortable yet saying. You openly, confidently say, what do you think about this plan? Is there anything that you don't like? Because that is an incredible, powerful opportunity to learn something about your client. And if you respond well, you can turn an objection to a commitment. If they have this objection and you show them, oh, we can work in this way, so it is in your favor, they are so much more likely to work with you because they don't have an objections anymore. Instead, there is this thing in the plan that is really important to them. So don't feel shy or insecure about objections. They are an incredible opportunity to learn from your client, to get their perspective, and to improve the plan. Before we move on to the closing part of the sales conversation, if you want, ask yourself, is this person a good fit for me? Remember, that's really important. It's a conversation between two people, and both need to decide that they can collaborate together. So if this client is not a great fit for you, you may be working with busy moms and they want to be a pro bodybuilder. It might be a good idea to say, I cannot do my best work with you. I'm focused on busy moms. They may have unrealistic expectations and they don't want to do the work. Then you may not want to work with them because they will be energy suckers, you will be frustrated, you will not get results, and you potentially waste your energy on someone who's not ready, while someone else would love to work with you. If they feel reluctant about the process or with the question that we will ask in the next step, can you address maybe some of their objections in a different way? So get a feeling during the conversation of where they are. Are they super happy and engaged? Then you can move on. Maybe they're not yet happy or maybe a little bit reluctant. Then you can explore maybe a little bit more. Hey, what's going on? I noticed there is this thing. What's going on? Now comes the closing part of the sales conversation. Would you like someone to help you with that? You've just talked about the plan. And this is the part of you in. Do you want to work on this and want to get help? If they say no, that's totally fine. And they can move on. But the best and most important part is keep in touch with them. Maybe they follow you on Instagram. Maybe you talk with them every now and then. Maybe you make a comment on their Instagram account. Hey, that's looking really good. Whatever it is, maybe you have their email. Keeping in touch with them is a powerful next step if they say no. And what you can do when they say no and how you can follow up, I will talk about this a little bit more in a second. But let's first look at the bright side. You would like someone to help you with that? They say yes. Now comes the interesting part. Would you like that person to be me? Because you are my ideal client. And these two lines are very powerful. First, you get their agreement to, yes, let us work together. That's the first layer of commitment of I'm going to buy your services. But you follow up with this incredible powerful line, you are my ideal client. And look at their reaction when they see something like this. They will be surprised because they have never heard something like this before. You are my ideal client because you are someone with whom I can do my best work. Because. And then you mention all their traits that make them a great fit for your service. And think about this part as affirmations and positive feedback, something that you're doing all the time anyway as a coach. You highlight all their bright spots, all their strengths, all their superpowers, everything that is favoring them to work with you. And I tell you, look at their faces if you can. Look here at their voice if you have a phone call conversation, or look at the emojis that they're sending you as a response. If someone tells you, you're so amazing, you're so awesome, and you're such a great fit for the way I work, then you want to know more. You want to be in this area because this person makes you feel awesome. And if they agree, if they're excited about the reasons why you want to work with them, then ask them, shall we look at our calendars to plan a time to get started? This is the next level of commitment. Do you want me to help you with that? Yes. Let's make an appointment to get started. Yes. Layer after layer. And when you fix the appointment with the client, then you have the next step of the commitment layers. They have committed to a time, they have committed to a date. Now you can discuss the price. And it's super helpful to have a little sales cheat sheet, something that you can hand the client that has a cheap option, a middle option, and a pricey option. And then you can have a conversation. You can say something like, based on what we have talked about, I think this is the best way to achieve your goal. And then you talk through it. Maybe you have to address some objections. Maybe they're not ready. But if all goes well, you can go to the next step and say, hey, it's so awesome. I'm super excited. Let's fix some final details and we can get started. And I use a coaching agreement for that. So they get an idea of what I expect from them, what they can expect from me. They have their space for the credit card information, how long the program is, all the details. And if you're interested in that, I have the link to the coaching agreement in the description below. you can check it out and download it for free. And here is your sales conversation cheat sheet. You can take this, you can print it out. The link to the PDF is in the description below. And you can take this, print it out, write the name on it, and have the conversation with them. You have the little reminders at the top. You can make notes in the boxes while you're having the conversation. If you like this sales sheet and the coaching agreement, then please feel free to click a like, leave a comment, or share it with friends so they can get this information as well. Let's talk about some objections or things that can go wrong. What if they're not certain they want to work with you? Again, that's not a problem. This is not a rejection. It's they are not ready to work with you. And it just means at a later time, they might be ready to work with you. And something in their lives changes, so nutrition and fitness becomes more of a priority for them. The key here is to stay in touch. Maybe through an email newsletter, through your Instagram, through Facebook, through personal communication, whatever it is. No is a no, not yet response. If you are great with following up, you stay the number one choice in their mind if they ever want to choose and work on their nutrition and fitness. So don't give up, don't be frustrated, see it as an opportunity to keep adding value, to keep in touch, and if they're ready, they will message you. And then if they cannot afford it, that's also a real possibility. It's an opportunity for you to get creative. Maybe you can think of new ways to help them reach their goal. Maybe you can deliver similar results at a lower price. And very often this can even be a new business idea. So you could think about group coaching, maybe downloadable training tablets, maybe a free video course, whatever it is. Get creative. Find new ways, if possible, to help them, even if they cannot afford it. You are important to this world, and your service is important to the world. Leave all the things out that are not helpful in a sales conversation and set yourself apart. If you focus on your coaching skills, if you listen and let them tell you what you really want, what they really want, and then connect what they really want, their need, with your solution, sales conversations become very easy. Because it's not, let me take this from you, I need you to get to a yes. None of that. It's a human conversation where two people figure out if they can work together and if they can exchange value. You give them value with their coaching, they give you value with their money. Thank you so much for watching. I've added a couple of playlists and videos that I think will be super helpful. And if you like this video, please leave a like, a comment, or subscribe.